Welcome back to Aurora's Canvas. Today we're moving on to the next series, and the series is Toxic Patterns. We've given you 10 videos on your emotions. Any further queries on that emotion or any more emotions you want me to cover can be pushed into my Instagram account. The link to the same is beneath this video in the description. Today we will talk about toxic patterns. Initially, you need to establish if a person around you has a toxic pattern and what toxic pattern is that person coming to you with. Only once you've established that a certain person or his habits are toxic to you, it's only then that you can react appropriately. Dealing with them is quite simple. We can cover very simply that what you need to do with the dealing, either you distance yourself from them, and wherever this is impracticable to distance yourself from such a toxic person, you choose to stop giving value to such person's word. Slowly and steadily you start to degrade their values in your life, in your emotions. Stop being affected by these people. You have to distance from them. That is the first choice, and wherever possible, distance yourself. It'll be a little painful, but that is a beautiful destruction. This destruction will make space for some beautiful creation. We're gonna see 3 toxic patterns today from this video. Here we go.
हेलो
क्या चल रहा है लॉकडाउन में?
ऑनेस्टली यार आई एम फेसिंग सम प्रॉब्लम्स. एक्चुअली मेडिसिन वगैरह नहीं आ पा रही हैं तो उसकी वजह से थोड़ा सा टेंस्ड हूँ.
You talking about this? Let me tell you, I'm so stressed, Like man, it's my birthday in a few days. I had so many plans. I don't know what to do now. It's making me really upset.
I understand you.
So what you just saw in that video was victim mentality. This is the first toxic pattern that you will see around you. To understand victim mentality, first we need to admit that at one point or the other, we all are disheartened and we end up calling a meeting, we end up meeting a lot of friends, or maybe just calling somebody in our family. We just end up telling and crying our worries out. That is okay, because a normal person, after they've cried their eyes out, if they've expressed that they're unhappy, they're going to move on towards the solution of the problem. They're going to work their butts off, focus to the solution of the problem. But that's not how a person with victim mentality operates. A huge number of times, their problems would be unrealistic. Even when they're realistic, they are not ready to take up responsibility. They're not ready to admit that something can be done about it, and they just feed on the empathy of other people to demand more help. They drain out you on the basis of the empathy that you have. They feed on it like a prey, the animal of prey. They're feeding on your empathy and draining out as much money, time, and energy they can drain out from you. They are very dangerous people right around all of us. But what you need to do, they are right between us. These people are extremely toxic. One way to recognize that is sometimes you call up a person to tell you a problem and end that call on a note that you end up feeling sorry for their situation. Every time you tell a problem to this person, they're going to come up with that they're dealing with something even bigger. They lack empathy and they are never going to acknowledge that somebody else is also in trouble.
हेलो.
हाय ब्रो, कैसी है? तुम तो बड़े लोग हो गए, याद ही नहीं करते.
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है यार, बस लॉकडाउन की वजह से वर्क फ्रॉम होम में थोड़ा सा हो गया था.
व्हाट बिजी मैन? तो होली पर भी मिली थी, तब भी तूने ढंग से बात नहीं करी थी. ये कोई बात नहीं होती है तेरी.
Wait a second, Jaksh. You're actually shouting at me. I mean, this doesn't make sense.
Okay, so you can only see that I'm shouting at you, but not that fact I'm hurt. ये तुझे पता है मैं थोड़ी इमोशनल हूँ. तू ढंग से बात नहीं करती तो मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगता.
Okay, I'm sorry. and I didn't mean to hurt you, and I'll take care about it.
Here was the pattern number 2. This was emotional abuse. Again, a very dangerous one. These people will yell at you. These people will accuse you. They will intimidate you. They will manipulate you, and they will belittle you. They'll yell at you for no reason. They'll shout around you, and they're going to be extremely loud at their voices. Voices normal people don't do in normal conversation. They will accuse you of things. Everything that's wrong in the relationship is because of you. They will belittle you. They'll make you feel belittle of yourself, a lesser of your own version. You will not feel that you're totally appropriate for something, or you don't deserve a lot around. Then they will constantly intimidate you. They'll be feeding on the emotion of fear. They're going to give you a constant fear of something or the other. Usually that fear is that they're going to leave you, and how your life is going to be messed up if they are not around. This usually doesn't happen. And then they will also manipulate you. Manipulation is a very real thing. They'll never admit that they're really giving you any troubles. They're just manipulating you into things. They're never going to straight away say bad things to you. They're never going to say that you're a bad person. They'll never say that there's a problem with how you look. They'll never say that there's a problem with how you present yourself. Rather, they will always come up with manipulative ways to present these things to you. Now, what happens because of having somebody who is accustomed to treat people with emotional abuse? People end up depressed. They end up with a lack of motivation. They end up with low self-esteem. They end up with a very confused state of mind. Now, to recognize if you have such a person around, there's a very common thing that happens with these people. There'll be a conversation going on, or there'll be a phone call, and you would totally be sure that this is the person. The other person is supposed to apologize. There'll be no logical reason that this person can hide away from an apology, but at the end you end up apologizing on this conversation as well. That's the best way to recognize that you're dealing with somebody who is accustomed to emotional abuse.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you that I usually went to office with my friend Pallavi. With whom did you go prior to lockdown?
Honestly, I used to go out with Falguni generally, but कभी-कभी office colleagues के साथ भी चल जाती हूँ.
Oh, Falguni, I see. Okay, so how are you studying?
I actually bought a pen drive of GST, so I'm taking those classes.
See, this is what your problem is. You cannot study from a pen drive. It doesn't work. ऐसे नहीं होती यार पढ़ाई. तुझे ना पढ़ना ही नहीं आता है, तुझसे कुछ कहना ही बेकार है. You seem upset. Is there anything bothering you?
Not exactly upset, yaar. It's just this morning I was talking to my friends, and you know what? I just had a very bad fight with them. And the problem is we are not talking to each other. I don't know. I was just thinking whether or not to call them.
Listen to me. You're not going to call them, okay?
But I think I should really call them up because maybe I was a bit rude. I really think that.
Think about your self-respect, man. You're not going to call them, they will call you. And that's final.
Well, we finally meet them, the controllers, the master manipulators. These people are around you. They are control freaks. They'll never let it come on the face that they're controlling or they're trying to control, but all they do is trying to control you, and they end up doing it a lot of times because I call them master manipulators. They are going to manipulate you into thinking that they're right for you, but all they're doing is three things for you. They'll always want to know, and they'll always come to know what are you doing, where you are, or what you're with, whatever, everything about their life, every aspect of your life, either directly or indirectly. Even when you're completely honest with them, they'll keep CCTV cameras onto you, your neighbor, your friends, your office mates, everybody around you. They'll make them their friends. They're going to be around them. They're going to have them into their kitty so that they can be sure where, when, and what are you doing. I mean, that's all they want. They want to know everything about you. Second, they try to micromanage your work. They're going to try to ask you to do a certain kind of a work. They're going to tell you how to do that work. Surprisingly, some people who don't even know what exactly that other person's business is, what exactly the other person does, they are much lesser qualified than the other person. They end up trying to control and micromanage their work, which is surprising. But they do that. That's what they're accustomed to. The most important characteristic is number third, which they try to manage the relationships of that person. Not just with that one person, but with everybody around. This toxic habit is seen in the best friends. This toxic habit can be seen in your closest cousin, your siblings. Sometimes you see this toxic pattern in parents. Sometimes you end up seeing this in partners, especially in relationships. What happens is they try to micromanage all your relationships, whatever they are. Your relationship with your mother, your relationship with your father, with your friends, with your colleagues, with anybody around, and they'll constantly try to tell you how to deal with them. It is very clear that if somebody else tries to manage what one person is dealing with, they'll always make major number of mistakes because you're not aware of the entire timeline and how did it go. Let me tell you, this is a problem which we have because we have always seen this happening in movies, and these days it's a pretty common depression that especially people around in their relationships have. A problem with the other person's, maybe some close friend or maybe some other people of the opposite gender, of course. You try to manage what kind of a relationship these two people have. Listen, the only choice that you have here is let them deal with it, and if you're uncomfortable on whatever stage it seems unbearable, get out of it. You cannot try to tell another person how to manage this thing. And this is where I'm going to say that if you feel that you have any of these toxic traits, please, without wasting any time, work on this. And if you think this is unworkable and this has started to come from you subconsciously, go see a medical therapist. You are doing much bad to yourself. You're going to end up depressed. You're going to end up jealous. You're going to end up into a constant state of mental trouble for yourself because people are going to leave you. They will understand that your pattern is toxic and they're going to get out of you. So you just need to ensure that you're not going wrong. Coming back to the number third type of toxic trait, which is controlling, master manipulators. Actually, master manipulators are not totally wrong because of their own will. It is majorly a trait because of the structure that they've grown up in. It is majorly because of a controlling parent or a grandparent. Like in a structure of a house where father controls everything, brother, sister, youngsters, mother, his father, his mother, everybody, whatever will happen because of one person's control. Even their careers were chosen by their fathers and mothers. These people end up being controllers in the future. They end up seeing this as the best way to live because that person, father, grandfather, mother, whosoever that controlling freak was inside their house, they end up becoming that person because that's what they think is the best way to live. And usually see that whenever you meet such a person, you see in their family, the control freak will be their favorite person, and that is the way they would want to become. That I'm just like this person in my family and that person is a control freak. They'll end up having this toxic pattern into themselves. So yeah, there is a lot of parenting lesson here as well, that don't be too controlling of your kids because they end up developing a toxic pattern. But on parenting in some other videos. Today, that's it. These were the 3 toxic patterns. I am extremely thankful to these 2 little girls, Miss Pushti Sahani and Miss Chakshdeep Kaur. You've really made this video what it is today. Their clippings were wonderful. Please do 1 like each for them. Leave their feedback in the comments, and whatever you want to say about the admiration of these 2 people and how you're enjoying my videos, I want to see in the comments. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share these videos with a lot of people. I am sure these can help a lot of people. So from today, at least these 3 habits, go back and establish where have you seen these patterns already, and accordingly, let's get going in the future. See you in the next video. Bye bye for today.